Good afternoon and welcome to the lunchtime news here on TV. Before we take a look at the stories for this afternoon in detail, let's take a look at your headlines.
No shortage in Sri Lanka, assured Commissioner General on Essential Services. Multiple services declared as essential services. Will quarantine curfew be extended? Decision to be taken tomorrow. Increase in weekly mortality rate in 3 countries including Sri Lanka, says World Health Organization. UN warns of food crisis in Afghanistan.
Taking a look at those stories in detail, the Ministry of Health has informed that the decision regarding the extension of the ongoing quarantine curfew will be made tomorrow, the 3rd of September. Director General of Health Services, Dr. Asela Gunawardena said the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 is scheduled to meet tomorrow under the auspices of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. A final decision to whether or not to extend the quarantine curfew will be made at the meeting. In more local news, Minister of Health Keheliya Rambukwella has instructed officials to look into the daily supply of oxygen to every hospital in the country.
The minister has instructed that all necessary measures be taken to ensure that all COVID-19 patients in need of oxygen should be provided with sufficient supplies. The minister has expressed that it is of utmost importance that no COVID-19 patient dies due to the lack of oxygen. The daily oxygen production in the country is around 80 tons and the demand for oxygen has increased beyond that level. The Minister of Health said additional stocks of oxygen have been imported from countries such as India and Singapore. From the beginning, the government didn't have plans to save lives. That is the case even now. Gradually, the number of fatalities will increase, and one day the government will announce that the number has exceeded 1,000. This is a tragedy. People must live in this country. I wonder to which extent the number of deaths will increase. We express strong opposition towards the government about the loss of lives. Although travel restrictions are implemented to a certain extent, a complete lockdown of the country cannot be seen. Essential services, including businesses involved in export activities, have been given the freedom to operate within the country. That is what's accepted globally. There are many examples of countries that went into a complete lockdown, like New Zealand and Australia. The spread of the disease has not reduced due to the lockdown. There must be a hybrid lockdown suitable for Sri Lanka, one which will curb the spread of the disease and will also allow economic activities to function. The president was given an ailing economy that was there for the past 5 years. We were able to face the COVID-19 pandemic with that economy. Every industry in the country is collapsing day by day. The only factory that helps the government function is the money printing factory. The government was unable to distribute the vaccine they received from other countries free of charge properly among the public. Rather than identifying it as a COVID-19 prevention vaccine, they should call it the vaccine that helps the spread of the virus, since people gather in large crowds in a congested manner to administer the vaccine. The number of COVID-19 deaths has risen to 9,400 after another 215 deaths were reported yesterday, the 1st of September. 115 males and 100 females have succumbed to the virus. Army Commander General Shavendra Silva said the total number of confirmed cases of COVID-19 reported from Sri Lanka has risen to 444,129. Despite a decrease in deaths in the Southeast Asian region, 3 countries have reported increases of over 15% during the week ending 31st August 2021. In the World Health Organization's weekly epidemiological report, Sri Lanka has reported an increase of 19%, with Timor-Leste and India reporting 32% and 17% respectively. The region reported over 14,000 new deaths, a 20% decrease compared to the previous week, largely due to 60% of countries in the region reporting decreases in weekly mortality during the past week.
Taking a look at a story that has made headlines this afternoon, Commissioner General of Essential Services, Major General Senrat Newsfirst assures that there is no food shortage.
General for Essential Services said that steps will be taken to impose a price ceiling for essential items during the day-to-day. He said the prices have been directed to relevant authorities for approval. He added that the relevant teams have decided the prices considering several factors. Meanwhile, the President has declared several services as essential services under the Essential Public Services Act. As per the Gazette notification, all services to be performed by the Ports Authority, supply and distribution of all fuels including petroleum products and liquefied petroleum, all public services rendered by the Department of Railways and the Sri Lanka Transport Board, and essential maintenance and operations to maintain those public services have been declared essential services. Essential services include services of all field level officers, including all district secretariats, divisional secretariats, Gamniladari officers, Samruddhi officers and agriculture officers. According to the Gazette notification issued by the President, all state banking and insurance services, including the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, all services related to health services, services of cooperative wholesale establishment have been declared as essential services. In addition, the postal service as well as services to be rendered by all government officers under the provincial councils have been made essential services. A statement issued by Director General of Government Information Mohan Samaranayaka said that there is no shortage of essential food items in the country, including rice and sugar. The statement said the government has sufficient stocks to meet the demand. It added that information has been revealed of some fraudulent traders for hoarding essential food items such as paddy, rice and sugar in large quantities with the intention of selling them at higher prices in order to make excessive profits in the future. The Director General of Government Information said that the sections relating to the provision of essential food items in the Public Security Ordinance were enforced last Monday in order to defeat these criminal efforts. The statement went on to note that the attempts to create an artificial food shortage in the country were defeated.
SLPP parliamentarian Professor Ranjit Bandara spoke on the rates which would be paid when retrieving stocks of sugar which have been concealed.
584,000 metric tons of sugar have been imported to the country between the 14th of October 2020 and 30th of July 2021. This was after the levy was reduced to 25 cents. The country's monthly sugar requirement is roughly 35,000 metric tons. At the time these stocks of sugar were imported, the price of a kilo of sugar was 87 rupees and 50 cents. Currently, it is 90 rupees. Let's assume 15 rupees was added to this price based on several factors. The retail price of sugar should be below 110 rupees at least. Reports have already surfaced of corporations that have concealed stocks of sugar. I don't wish to reveal those names to the media, but it is all over social media. It was also reported on the news. The government is not against the business community of the country, neither does it wish for businesses to collapse. The government's intention is to ensure that those who have been misguided are brought back to the correct path. Government intervention in the market does not mean it is acting to destroy private businesses. They have to be corrected. They should receive the money they spend.
Let's now take a look at the situation pertaining to dedicated economic centres in the country.
Economic centres which were in operation island-wide will be temporarily closed from midnight today. However, our correspondents noted, despite the adequate supply of vegetables, fruits and other commodities to economic centres island-wide, there is a shortage of wholesale traders to purchase these stocks. The Manning market in Palyagoda received large stocks of vegetables and fruits today as well.
We have received many stocks of fruits, especially bananas. We see a low turnover of customers to purchase these stocks. We think this low turnover is because of the recent hike in prices of goods. The Manning market will be in operation until 7 p.m. today.
Prices of fish at the Palyagoda fish market were also slightly higher compared to yesterday. Meanwhile, the Dabulla Dedicated Economic Centre also received a large quantity of vegetables today. However, our correspondent said the turnover of wholesalers to purchase these vegetables was low compared to yesterday. The Katugastota Manikkumbura Economic Centre also received large quantities of vegetables, but there too a shortage of wholesalers was reported to purchase these stocks.
Today marks the 70th anniversary of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party.
The Sri Lanka Freedom Party was founded on a day like today in 1951 by SWRD Bandaranayake and is a party which follows a non-aligned policy. Within 5 years of its formation, the SLFP, with the support of the Mahajana Eksat Perumuna, was able to build up a strong following and take up the reins to the country. Banding the five forces, or the Pancha Mahabalavegya, SWRD Bandaranayake was elected the fourth Prime Minister of Sri Lanka in 1956. It was under his governance that Sinhala was named as the official language, while multiple business and economic hubs, which were operated by multinational corporations at the time, were nationalized. Since then, the leftist parties and the Sri Lanka Freedom Party held power in the country for over 3 decades. The SLFP is currently a constituent party of the SLPP-led government. Following the introduction of executive presidency, the Sri Lanka Freedom Party has succeeded in electing to power 2 executive presidents who have managed the affairs of the state for 21 years overall. It was an SLFP government which should be commended for converting Sri Lanka into a republic from its dominion status. Sirimavo Bandaranayake, the world's first female Prime Minister, was also the head of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party for 41 years. Senior Vice Chairman of the SLFP, Mahinda Amaravira, said, in spite of the COVID-19 related health crisis in the country at present, the party's 70th anniversary conference will be held virtually.
In more local news, environmentalists point out that the Hakkinda archipelago, which has been gazetted as an ecological protection zone, has fallen prey to a group of racketeers.
Adjacent to Gannoruwa, where the Mahaveli River flows, the Hakkinda archipelago is a popular destination among Sri Lankans. The area is made up of around 20 islands of unique biodiversity and is home to a number of valuable flora and fauna. In 2017, this ecosystem was declared an ecologically protected zone through a special Gazette notification. However, at present, a massive timber racket is taking place, centering the right and left banks of the Hakkinda archipelago. Many valuable plants have been cut down, and according to our correspondent, the ecosystem has been severely damaged due to the destruction caused to the area.
Taking a look back at a story that has made headlines from here at home, the Department of Archaeology says a committee has been appointed to study the incident where treasure hunters had dug the Kuda Situlpawa Dagaba situated at the historic Situlpawa sacred site in the Yala National Park. The committee is led by Assistant Director of the Southern Province.
Professor Anura Manatunga, the Director General of the Department of Archaeology, says authorities have been notified to increase the number of police patrols in the area. One suspect has already been arrested over the incident. The Director General added further steps pertaining to the matter will be carried out in accordance to court orders. He added, it is surmised that the looters had stolen ancient treasures placed within the Kuda Situlpawa Dagaba. The police said 10 police teams have been assigned to probe the incident. The Kuda Situlpawa Dagaba is situated 190 meters away from the Situlpawa Rajamahaviharya within the Yala National Park.
That is all the news we have for you this afternoon. I've been Senit.